don't know. I think these colored contacts are making my eyes go red. It looks like I've been smoking a joint. Hey! Hi, dolls! It's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of Camp Wannakiki, Season 4, Episode 8. And before we get started, there's only one thing I need to do. Jorge, drink me! Oh, thank you, Jorge. Ooh, cranberry and ginger ale. Nice. Well, tequila this time. I wasn't prepared for that, I'll tell you what. This week at Camp Wannakiki, we caught the top 4 campers writing letters home, which, let's face it, was disturbing enough on the face of it. But between Triple D's wholehearted attempt to understand why white people do, Hillary's laundry list of admirers, Lily's admission that she was not on a Himalayan sex tour, and Clinica's cat scratchings to her cat, I was starting to see why these campers wanted to get away from it all in the first place. By the way, Get Away From It All was the name of my fringe play. Meanwhile, back at camp headquarters, the Sugarbaker twins were mulling over the prices of milk and candy bar in this day and age. Like those who drank milk. And then they were interrupted by a phone call from the health inspector, aka Deja Sky, looking fabulous, I might add. But not so fabulous that I didn't notice she was talking into a banana. So she had that pink brick background, but she didn't have a phone? All right. Phone or not, Deja had news. The milk was soured by the cows getting loose in the onion patch, which I thought was some kind of euphemism at first, because Lord knows I hate it when anything is loose in my onion patch. Seriously. Bring a tear to your eye. But no, Deja meant what she meant. The milk was off, which is only slightly better than what the twins initially thought Deja was calling about. Cherry pie and apple brown Betty stealing stuff. Again. Hey, they're working girls on a budget. Meanwhile, the campers were just sitting down to breakfast when they were interrupted by the runners-up from Season 3, Campers, Bohemian Rhapsody, and America Powers. They wanted to make sure that the campers had a well-balanced breakfast, but all they had were pancakes. Dry, naked pancakes, which, let's face it, even America's spontaneous wig change from fantasizing about protein-laden Ranger Danger couldn't make appealing. And it was a good wig. So, with a breakfast of dry, naked pancakes, it was on to Camp Wannakiki's bus for a road trip with Camp Counselor Ruthie to a dairy farm for the daily activities. Yes, that's right, I said activities. The first of which was feeding a baby cow, although I think Hillary is responsible for the overactive calves because apparently she fed her cow lattes. And by overactive, I mean inappropriate. Those calves kept zoning in on the campers' no-no places. Thankfully, Lily doesn't have any no-no places and took them all for the team. I said it before, I'll say it again. Thank God for sluts. Meanwhile, back at camp, the Sugarbaker twins were handling their dairy situation, and by that, I mean pouring the milk down the drain. This was too much for Cherry Pie, who was crying over the milk, whether it was spilt or not. Personally, I think this whole scene was just the Sugarbaker's attempt at more camera time. Meanwhile, back at the dairy farm, Ruthie congratulated Lily for finishing her calf feeding first. Then it was on to part 2 of the daily challenge. The campers had to milk a cow, and I am not talking in the pastoral, sitting on a stool kind of way. I'm so sorry to say. At least sitting on a stool, you're not nose to nose with the cow's poopy end. No. The campers were led to some kind of bovine milk ramp, which surprised me because milk ramp was my drag queen name in high school. No, the queens had to stand behind the cows as they pooped away, and I'm talking about the cows. Poor Hillary, she got pooped on more than once, and that was before she even got to the farm, so you know she was into it. Personally, I've never seen milking done that way, and now that I have, I'm glad I don't drink cow. I'm a nut milk girl. Tell your friends. Boo. Seriously, by the look on Triple D's face, the whole activity was as disgusting as it looked. Personally, I saw more poop than milk, and seriously, isn't that the problem with TV today? Clinica seemed to get the hang of it pretty quick, but then, well, she did admit that this was how she did things back home. Too bad she doesn't live on a farm is all I'm saying. Lily seemed to be the only one able to wrap her fingers around the situation and produce some warm, creamy milk out of the cow. Personally, I thought Lily's euphemism for milking a cow being having sex with a fat guy was a tad offensive. So did Triple D, who thought Lily had promised not to tell. That's a slut for you. Loose hips, loose lips. I say that with love. Needless to say, the campers were thrilled when all this animal husbandry was over. Although, I could have heard a thing or two more about Ruthie keeping her calves together. Just saying. But there was no time to linger because the campers had to get back to Camp Wannakiki for the talent show and the awarding of this week's utterly fab badge. The Sugarbaker twins were decked out in their barnyard finery because this week's talent show theme was Barnyard Social. I suspect Ruthie wasn't feeling as social as she'd like, as it seemed that Lily St. Queerd brought back a few souvenirs from the farm. And by that, I mean blow-up cows. I'm not sure I completely followed Hillary Yaz's story for the talent show, but I just loved her outfit. Suffice it to say she was a queen, stuffed in a chicken, stuffed in a duck, stuffed in a turkey. What did she call this look? I called it a hot mess, but in the most delicious way possible. That must be why she was French. Fingerdoo for Hillary. I liked Lily's Pennsylvania Dutch tale of an Amish farm girl's Rumspringa. Clearly, this milkmaid had a good one too because she brought back a souvenir. A tattoo on her derriere dedicated to Ranger Danger. Have to admit, as cute as Lily looked, I was underwhelmed by her presentation, so I gave her a Fingerdoo. I didn't want to. She milkmaid me. Klinica's Transformer tractor was the star of the show. First off, this was clearly a drag king look from Klinica, which she warned us she had in her dance bag. And let me tell you, what a king look it was. If all Klinica had done was walk on stage like they did in that cardboard and left it at that, I would have known that they were a transforming tractor. But when they got down on all fours and flipped the cab over their head, I clutched pearls. I was amazed at how complete this transformation was. Klinica even had an EIEIO license plate. Fingerdoo for Klinica, seriously. Deja D's outfit was an ode to the song Cotton Eye Joe, and I loved it. Her bandana leotard, gingham tablecloth coat, and cornrows were gorgeous, but the star of Deja's show was having that little tractor fascinator work in those cornrows. I just loved it. Fingerdoo for Deja D, just saying. While Ruthie and the twins deliberated, the final four relaxed with a bevy in the rec room as they shared their war stories from being on the farm. That seemed to spark inspiration where Hillary was concerned because she asked Klinica to help her reenact a kaiju battle between a tractor and a giant turducken. It was epic. Back on the main stage, Ruthie and the Sugarbaker twins praised Klinica for their costume, but asked if she were to win season 4, would she want to be known as the king or the queen of camp? I really like Klinica's answer. They said they would be honored if they came up with a third option that helped include the whole queer community. And I agree. Can't we just change it to the star of camp? Do you like star? Ruthie and the twins loved the cheekiness of Lily's costume, literally. And when asked what being in the finale meant to her, Lily said it would help put the spotlight on this new phase of her life, which would mean the world to her. Good for her. Ruthie was loving Hillary's yellow duck shoe bill, and when asked what being in the finale would mean to her, Hillary said that the competition has given her a huge sense of confidence, and that has also meant the world to her. I love you, Hillary. God bless. Deja D was also asked about making the finale, and she said it would complete her journey and that being at camp has opened her eyes to the several many ways to express oneself in drag. Well said, Deja. But since there were only 3 utterly fab badges, one of the final campers would be taking the long hike home. One by one, Ruthie and the twins revealed a name on their chalkboards of who they wanted to keep in the competition. Cherry went first, and not only did her choice get to move into the finale, they also were the winner of this challenge. And surprise, surprise, it was Klinica. Congratulations. That puts her in a tie with Hillary at 3 wins each. Yes. Speaking of Hillary, Ruthie went next, and she had Ms. Yaz on her chalkboard, and so she should. Needless to say, Hillary was more than thrilled. She was out and out relieved. That left Betty's chalkboard facing both Triple D and Lily, and it was Deja D's name that Betty had written down, which sadly meant that it was Lily St. Queer who had to take the long hike home. Sadly, this season of Camp Wannakiki's cast were stellar, and at this point of the contest, Ruthie and the twins are splitting hairs judging the remaining campers. Lily in no way lost season 4 of Camp Wannakiki. She just didn't win. And I, for one, am thrilled that we got this opportunity to meet her in the first place. Here's to Lily St. Queer. I love you, doll. Slut. So, what do you think? Did Lily get the bum's rush? Should someone else have gone home? As for the remaining campers, who do you think will take it all? At this point, I think it's a toss-up between Hillary and Clinica, but that doesn't mean Deja D doesn't have a few tricks left in her dance bag. All we can do is tune into the finale of Camp Wannakiki Season 4 next week to see how it all plays out. And then, when you're done, you come on back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. Now, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps to get my videos seen. You know what helps even more? Subscribing to my channel. Seriously, that would mean the world to me too. And if you want to help support this channel even more, I have links to my Fingerdoo, to my Patreon page, and to get Wilma merch in my Redbubble store. So, until next week, it's me! Seriously, I have to admit, I thought they were going to keep all 4. I normally hate it when they do that, but this would have been a good one. I would have accepted all 4 of those queens. Those campers staying, I'm just saying. I won't lie, I'm super happy there's a Canadian in the lineup. So much fun. You know what was amazing? I was a rumored contestant for season 4. There was some Reddit thing going on, and I was one of the people. They must have heard there was a Canadian and assumed I'm the only drag queen in Canada. You know, now that Brooklyn Heights and Scarlett Bobo are famous. They must have thought I was the only one. I don't know. But it was shocking. Am I? Was I?